Coming up on Talk is Cheap, we're going to take a look at the Battle of LA, ladies and gentlemen. This was way back in 1942. Was there a UFO that they were trying to shoot out of the sky? Up next on Talk is Cheap. Welcome to Talk is Cheap, where cheap is talk, and talk is cheap, ladies and gentlemen. I am here in my office, my secret underground, probably above ground, I should say, office. And Pete's over here in his underground lair.
Yeah, well, the underground lair with the curtains behind me. No, Dan, I'm above ground as well. I'm in the penthouse. You know, with social distancing going on, I can see for a long ways if anybody's coming now. There's not a lot of traffic, so anytime someone comes poking around, you know, I can usually tell. So I feel a little more comfortable getting above ground, a little more exposed. Plus, the sun's out, man. It's spring in Wisconsin. You can't beat that.
All right. You see somebody coming, you run the other way.
I'm not so sure about that, but you know, I take cover and if I don't have it, I retreat to my long rifle. So, and then I can go on the offensive.
Well, if they come for your guns, give them your bullets first. That's what they always say.
Yeah, that's good advice. Good advice, Dano.
So just a little tease here. We got a email from Charlie from upstate New York. We're gonna get to your email at the end of this show, so stick with us. And we also have a couple other things we're going to touch upon.
I love Charlie from upstate New York. He's awesome. And
he's supposed to buy you that beer if you go out there. So.
Well, you know what? I think by this time I owe him. He's definitely paid it forward enough that I would love to get a beer with Charlie from upstate New York some night.
Definitely.
I will take him up on it, and I will buy the next few rounds after that one.
Okay, so the Battle of LA. This is actually one of the topics that kind of got me into the whole conspiracy stuff, because I seen the photo. I might as well put the photo up on screen for
this is mind-blowing,
folks
man.
that are watching.
This ran in newspapers all across the country.
So yeah, look at this. So you got searchlights. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 searchlights pointed at this object, and it looks, if you do, this was in the enhanced version, of course, but it does look like a UFO.
Yeah, and they're launching flak at it and anti-aircraft weaponry at it while they're spotlighting it. I mean, they attacked an object in the sky,
and they can't even bring the damn thing down. It's like what it's showing. So there's kind of the paper print there. Same thing. Actually, this one had more searchlights on it. So we got
and it looks a little more defined, saucer-shaped object, kind of like with a dome on top. It's like the little bubble dome or whatever you want to call it. 8
searchlights on that one. And then here was the Los Angeles Times: mystery air objects seen in sky over LA. So very interesting stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a cool, and there's like really good photographic evidence of it. I mean, the government shot at something.
So I'm going to run down through this on how this whole thing went down here. So on February 25th, 1942, at 1:44 a.m., 3 radar stations picked up a UFO. And then at 2 a.m., they picked it up 200 kilometers or 124 miles offshore. And then at 2:25 a.m., sirens blared across LA to get the public ready. They think that this was going to be Japan
invading
because you have to remember now, this was just after Pearl Harbor.
Yep. What year was this, Dan, that the LA thing took place?
1942.
Okay, so it was very shortly after Pearl Harbor. So here they think the Japanese are coming in at us. And can you really quickly, Dan?
So Pearl Harbor was December 7th, 1941.
Yep. So this is less than a year ago. And so what day of the year was this in 1942?
This was February 25th.
Oh, geez. So it's like, a month. 2 months. 2 months tops after Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. So
2.5 months. No,
that's another reason why everybody was on edge with this. And actually, the reason people were so on edge was because they actually had a Japanese sub on February 23rd. So
Cooling offshore.
A couple days before this, and it shot dozens of artillery shells at an oil field and refinery. There was no casualties and there was minor damage, but that was the first time the U.S. mainland had been bombed during World War II. So that's why people are on edge. You know, they're going to go apeshit when this happens. And when this happened, LA, they had a city blackout. They didn't want people turning on their lights when this is going on.
No, give them targets. Yeah, right. Yeah, turn your lights off. No sense for giving them targets, right?
So yeah, you got the Coast Guard, the Navy, the Air Force, and their anti-aircraft weapons all on high alert here. And
ready for action.
Yeah, definitely ready for action. Then the object, okay, so then it came over to the inland and the object started to become visible. They knew it didn't look like a private or commercial aircraft, and it was unlike anything they have seen. Now, this is coming from witnesses that have spoken out about this. It hovered and moved slowly, and it only took, well, it took 30 minutes to cover 25 miles. So for an airplane, that's pretty slow. You do the math, that's 50 miles an hour. And this went from Santa Monica area to Pomano.
So I'm thinking, you know, in the back of my mind, blimp perhaps, but I don't think the blimps traveled anywhere near 50 miles an hour, did they? The dirigibles, if you will.
Can you look up the blimp speed quick?
Yeah, I'll do that. Oh, interesting. All-out top speed in zero wind condition of the Goodyear blimp is 53 miles an hour.
Interesting.
Yeah, huh? Doesn't make sense why they couldn't shoot it down. Here's the highest speed a blimp has ever achieved. The highest estimated ground speed, the airship Hindenburg. Remember that one that blew up? Remember the Hindenburg disaster, the blimp that blew up?
No, where was that?
You don't remember the Hindenburg disaster?
It's I told you my history is a little...
Yeah, the humanity. Google Hindenburg disaster. It's that famous picture of that blimp burning after it hits the tower. Anyway.
Oh, okay, yeah. Now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. That's the Hindenburg. Any guesses at its top speed?
35.
188.
Holy shit!
Ground speed. And that was a very favorable tailwind, but that was an observed ground speed. On average, the fastest airships can approach 75 miles per hour in still air. Claimed at the time it had a tailwind of over 100 miles an hour. So figure 75 miles an hour, you know, and then if you're going with the wind, the tailwind will add to that.
All right, so getting back to the story here, we got this object coming in. They can't quite identify it. There's, you know, this is at 2:25 a.m. We got the sirens blaring. So the Navy and the Coast Guard got the go-ahead from the Secretary of the Navy, Frank Knox, and began firing at the unidentified flying object in the sky around 3:07 a.m. on the morning of the 25th.
Okay, so could you just run over that timeline real quick again, Dano? Just from the first radar blip to where we are right now, how much time has elapsed?
So 1:44 they first seen it.
Okay. Yep. Quarter to 2.
Then at 2 a.m. they tracked it 124 miles offshore. And then at 2:25 they rang the sirens.
Yep, that it was getting close enough that it was getting them nervous.
And then they got the permission to start firing at around 3:07.
So quarter to 2 to 3:07, so about an hour and a half. Not terrible. I mean, it got on the city quick, right?
Yeah. So yeah, you're talking 3:07. Now here's where we're talking the actual fire time. So from 3:07 to 4:14 a.m. They fired over 1,400 rounds at this thing, and these rounds are 12.8 pound anti-aircraft artillery, 50 cal.
Okay, so my first thought, Dan, was when you started talking about the speed, and I kind of had you recap the time frame here. You said about 50 miles an hour. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking blimp here, okay? And that would fit in the average, you know, like speed of a blimp, probably of that time too, right? Although, you know, the Hindenburg could go up to at least 75 miles an hour. But I don't know of any blimps, especially the Hindenburg. Remember, a spark brought that down, blew the whole thing up, right? I don't know of any blimp that could stand an hours plus worth of barrage from World War II era anti-aircraft artillery. That's not a blimp.
It's
Right?
it's a hell of a construction on that thing you got right there.
There we go, man.
If it's a blimp, it's built good. That's for sure.
So the object kept moving from Santa Monica to Long Beach and seemed to have no damage done after the barrage of shells that were fired at the UFO.
So it went back and forth between it, or it sounds like they're describing it as going back to was it Long Beach?
Well, when you think about, let me go big screen. When you think about Los Angeles, you know, it's Los Angeles County.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got all that. Santa Monica's in Los Angeles County, and then you know, you're going from Santa Monica, Long Beach.
Well,
Long Beach would be right on the beach, though.
Yeah, isn't Santa Monica Boulevard, right? Sheryl Crow sings about it. Is that near the beach? Like a trendy. Both of them are trendy places today. So, but it's weird that why would it would come up and under fire just go back and forth and not come down. That's weird. Daniel.
Okay, so this is why. It's not necessarily going back and forth. So I'm going to bring this map up on screen. I'm not from California, folks, so I had to bring this up and really get a look here. So we got Santa Monica up here, and we got Long Beach over here. So it probably just was going down like this.
How far is that, though, Dan? That's got to be several miles, right, between those two?
Oh, easily.
Close enough, yeah. How far?
22 miles.
22 miles? So at 50 miles an hour, it would take an hour for it to go down to Long Beach and then back up to Santa Monica.
We're not talking about going back.
It just went down. It never came back.
Remember, I told you it went over to that other. I said it went over to Pomona, which is over here.
Oh,
east, right here.
Okay.
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 You can't see the screen.
Yep.
Right here is.
Right
here is Pomona. Right here is Pomona. So
that's got to be 40 or 50 miles.
So by looking at this track, you know, it must have came down and then went over this way, or at least like maybe not all the way down to Long Beach. So you know, because you could fire at it in the air. Probably did something like that.
You know.
Again, they're firing at this thing. 1,400 rounds. That's 1,400 rounds. 12.8 pound anti-aircraft artillery, 50 caliber.
Not phasing it.
So later, after all was calm, the U.S. military reported that it must have just been a weather balloon. You know those damn weather balloons, Pete?
Weather balloons.
They get them every time.
Works so well in Roswell, right? We might as well try it there.
That's the thing, though. This is before Roswell.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe Roswell took it from this place.
They got it. They just started the play.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 42 is way before Roswell. Yeah.
Okay, so there was thousands of witnesses, very credible reporters. We got Bill Henry. He said he looked. It took direct hits. You could see that in those photos that we showed earlier. That's what that was the case shellings, or artillery hitting the side of the object. Let's call it an object.
Yeah, object. That's good.
He stated clearly it was no weather balloon. Now witnesses saying large circular object was being maneuvered in ways that no balloon or even aircraft of that time could have.
Interesting.
And that's
you hear that a lot, don't you?
Yeah, and then that's kind of one.
Could it be maneuvered like a aircraft today? I wonder. That's a good question to ask. Like, you know, could today's technology maneuver in a way that was observed during that attack? I would love to talk to a World War II vet that.
Well, they said as you look at this stuff, it says like there's no more of these people alive.
Yeah, that's a long time ago by now.
This is the thing. You talk about witnesses. There's other witnesses that said they seen 1 to 5 planes, but there's no plane debris found. And I want to read some highlights from this Los Angeles Times. We got the pictures here. So they had to, after this was all said and done, they had to actually close the streets off. Now this is from the archives of the Los Angeles Times. It's actually their website here, folks.
Interesting.
You go down here, they show a picture of a police officer blocking the road because unexploded artillery is laying on the ground, and they got to pick these things up because this stuff has
Oh,
been
yeah.
all over.
The stuff that didn't blow up, they got to go pick up. Yeah.
So we got also with people getting hurt. A police officer kicked in the window of a lighted Hollywood store and cut his right leg. The toll among air raid wardens was especially high. One fell off a wall while looking into a lighted apartment and broke a leg. Another jumped a 3-foot fence to reach a lighted house and sprained an ankle. Another fell down from his house stairs and broke his arm.
So these people were tasked with,
Yes.
if the air raid siren goes off, just like under all costs, get all the lights off.
And then here, embarrassing
Chains
here,
up.
the next day, the Secretary of the Navy said there had been no air raid, no enemy planes. It was just a case of the jitters. Again, back to the, we got the Japanese. Everybody's on edge.
I would buy a case of the jitters if it was like a quick barrage, a minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, they shot a few rounds at it, and then it's nothing. You don't have the jitters for an hour and track the jitters close to 40 miles through the air and on radar. That's my point on that, right?
Well, yeah, and then I don't know if people want to get their gun off or not. It's
Yeah, but you're not going to
shoot. I'm going to shoot too.
Yeah, you're not going to do it for an hour and and track it between cities 40 miles away, 35, 40 miles away. It's not going to happen. You're going to get pockets of that in that sort of time, but it's not going to last for an hour and some change and cover 40 miles. Not a chance.
Okay, there was some casualties with this. But it's not what you think. It was obviously because of the stupidity. We had 3 that died in car accidents. You got all that shit.
And they were
going
zooming away. Yeah.
You got all that stuff going on, and then two died by heart attack. So you got probably old people or whatever, and all this shit's going on.
Excited.
So they kicked the bucket.
Oh God. So the U.S. in that particular exchange, the U.S. government killed more people than it saved. The U.S. government killing people. What do you know? I'm sure that got written down.
Okay, so I'm gonna play this clip here. This is actually one of the broadcasts about the whole incident here. We'll just listen to the audio, I guess.
And now for news of our own West Coast, we take you to Los Angeles and the report of Byron Palmer. Anti-aircraft guns went into action against unidentified aircraft in the Los Angeles area shortly after 3 a.m. Pacific wartime this morning. The anti-aircraft guns began barking during a blackout ordered by the 4th Interceptor Command at 2:25 a.m. The unidentified object, which some sources thought might be a blimp, moved slowly down the Pacific coast from Santa Monica and disappeared south of Long Beach. Army officials declined to comment on the possibility that the object might have been a blimp. However, it required nearly 30 minutes to travel some 25 miles, far slower than an airplane. Watchers on the rooftop of the Columbia Broadcasting Building in the heart of Hollywood could plainly see the flashes of guns and searchlights sweeping the skies in a wide arc along the coastal area. Concussion of the shells could be felt in downtown Los Angeles, 15 miles away. U.S. Army planes quickly took to the dark skies, but whether they contacted the object has not been announced. Army officials say they will not comment until they receive a full report of the action. Although some watchers say they saw airplanes in the air, semi-official sources say they probably were the U.S. Army's pursuit. Several observers say they saw one or more planes spotlighted by 20 or 30 searchlights. The object moved southward, presumably over Huntington Park at the western edge of Los Angeles, and on southward to about Long Beach on the coast. By 3:30 a.m., observers said the object appeared to be over the south of Long Beach. Searchlights closely followed the object down the coast and kept it centered in their glare. Shells frequently could be seen bursting near the object, but none appeared to hit it. The shooting stopped about 3:30 a.m. The shooting brought warfare to the front door of this city of 1.25 million population for the first time since December 7th. Already it was alert to the presence off the Southern California coast of a Japanese submarine which had pumped 25 shells into an oil field north of Santa Barbara Monday evening. Because of the presence of the submarine, a 3-hour alert was ordered at dusk last night, and civilian authorities stood at their posts while the Army and Navy continued their search for the submersible.
Okay, I was just getting into that other incident there, but I want to correct it. That report did say that the shooting stopped at 3:30. I saw it. I got conflicting reports because I did see one that said it lasted till 4:14. So I don't know what the deal is with that. If it was a time zone thing or what the deal.
Yeah, well, you know what, Dan? I don't think that really matters in the whole scheme of things. Toss that out; it still stands on its own. I mean, that's a pretty detailed report and video of the jitters, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean, they just got videos of the jitters. So anyway, whatever that means. So we can throw out that official Army statement from there. From that we just looked at.
All right, so also here I have some more pictures on screen. I'll add to some of the cleanup, like he's putting his hand, because that's where one of the bullets went. He's got his hand in the sidewalk, probably up to his elbow, trying to get a shell out of the ground.
Ooh.
Part of the cleanup mechanism, if you will, and of course people in their businesses and apartment buildings.
What an open admission of the acceptance of collateral damage, It's like, oh, well, some of these shells came down in the residential neighborhood. What do you do?
Well, after you're, in a war like that, and Pearl Harbor was a few weeks ago, whatever.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I suppose you're not taking any chances, right? It's again, we'll lose a few of ours, but if we get most of theirs, it'll be all right.
Here's some more. Here's a paper clipping. This is from the Los Angeles Times here. Starting with the searchlight, we got bullet holes in the back of a car, a hole in the ceiling of looks like a person's bedroom, actually, there.
Little vanity or whatever you want to call it. And
people are lucky that they didn't have any of these hit them. I mean, they could have easily.
I mean, yeah, you didn't come across any reports of people dying from friendly fire during this.
No, that's all I got was the 3 car accidents and the 2 heart attacks.
That's it.
All that's admitted. So
no ammunition related stuff. That's interesting.
So I got a Fox News report here about the incident, kind of like looking back on it, if you will.
February 25th marks an anniversary that few remember and some refuse to forget. In 1942, an unidentified object was seen hovering over the California coast. The military, poised to defend the coast from a foreign invasion, took aim and fired. The event, called the Battle of Los Angeles, made headlines. What was in the sky and where did it go? Filmmaker and UFO researcher Jose Escamilla highlights the events of that night.
What happened at 2 in the morning, some objects entered into our airspace. One of them hovered right over Santa Monica and Culver City. Some described it as a round, dome-shaped object that was about 100 feet diameter. Some of them said it was a little smaller. But the unique thing about it is the military, the Army, started firing at this thing for about an hour and a half, but they could not bring the object down.
Within 24 hours, the Department of War sent a memo to the president detailing the incident as possibly unidentified airplanes flying at various speeds and declaring the investigation ongoing. But that came to an abrupt end when the Army declared the flying object a weather balloon, sparking theories of a government cover-up.
If they can't bring down a weather balloon with over 1,500 rounds of anti-aircraft shrapnel, 12-pound weaponry, what are they going to do against a real enemy target? That's what they decided. What do? Do we tell the American and the world public there is something among us that we cannot bring down, we cannot control, we don't know where they're from, and we don't know what they're doing here? No, they didn't want to say that. So the next best thing to do was to just officially deny their existence.
I didn't know you knew how to play the trombone. That's awesome.
Oh my God! But what a bunch of he makes a great point. They can't bring that shit down.
Well, we were really stupid back then too, as a public.
We're
just
still
believed.
stupid.
Yeah, we're stupid in different ways. But yeah, it's like, hey, Uncle Sam, you tell us you're right. Yeah, that's crazy, Dano.
So
crazy.
that's the gist of it there, folks. I mean, it was there's something to be had there. And then you look at that picture, that's, you know, and you can't bring a weather balloon down. Something's missing here. So
Yeah. Tell us where we're wrong, okay? Tell us where we took a wrong turn if you don't believe that. That's all I got to say.
Okay, so but before we close the show up, I want to play a couple clips here. We also have an email we're going to get to. This is a clip from General Mark Milley. Interestingly, he openly states that it looks like he's given a talk to some of his the new recruits that they're going to have to go through all this stuff, and he said you're going to have to go up against hybrid armies and little green men. Let's play that clip.
Tell you that from personal experience, and I know there's many others who can tell you that as well. And you will graduate and be in that world, and you're going to be leading the soldiers and the sailors, the airmen and the Marines in that world. You'll be dealing with terrorists. You'll be dealing with hybrid armies. You'll be dealing with little green men. You're going to be dealing with tribes. You'll be dealing with national leaders and local leaders.
What do you read into that, Pete?
Well, you know, who refers to little green men and don't mean little Martian alien people, right? But, you know, if memory serves me, some facets will say that that's just a general reference for like enemy and green fatigues or something like that. I don't know about that, but I don't know. When you hear the phrase little green men, Dan, what do you think of?
Well, you're asking me, aliens, of course.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. I mean, I think everybody
Exactly.
does. Yeah, I'd like to see somebody.
But I looked this up because somebody said exactly what you're saying, and I had to look that up. I was like, okay, is it referred to as anything else? And this is what I got. The phrase little green men typically refers to foreign troops, pre-military forces who dress in green attire instead of traditional military gear.
Yeah, like the green fatigues you see in the old Chuck Norris movies and stuff.
So
Right.
there you have it. I mean, why not just say...
Little green men is such an outdated term. Why would they say that, especially in today's culture? You know, I don't know.
That brings up a question too, because maybe why not do that to start feeding the public a little disclosure?
Yeah, it could
Especially
be.
this guy. I mean, why would you, when you're trying to like debunk aliens, even say
Use
that
the
word?
phrase. Yeah, right. Why would you say that? Absolutely. You know, and you're making a good point. Maybe, you know, he's like saying it. He's saying the truth, but he knows that there's this argument out here with all of the old school people saying, we used to call the VC little green man, or whatever, you know, whatever it is. I don't know. I hope nobody's offended by that. I don't think that, you get so stand to say anything like that, but I meant no offense, but use anything, you know. Use Fidel Castro's army, the Cubans, or whatever.
So we got an email from Charlie from upstate New York. I'm going to read this because there's no audio to it, of course. It says, hey guys, I just came across a video I never seen before. I can't find any more info about it. It's from 2013 and called the Lockfoil Sea Monster. I thought you guys might like to check it out, and any info you can find for me would be great. Thanks again, guys. Did you watch this video, Pete?
I did, Dano.
I'll bring it on screen for folks, and we
It's
can just...
like from Lockfoil, Ireland, right?
So what we got here for those listening, it looks like how big would you say that is? Probably 20 feet,
that
maybe?
Boat, that boat is probably like what, a 24-footer or something
Okay,
like
so
that.
maybe like 10 feet.
8 feet, maybe for that little the head.
So yeah, a monster. Well, they call it the Lockfoil monster, but it's cruising.
It's moving quick.
I've never seen
Okay.
anything like that before. I'll replay it here. I guess I can't even know how else to describe it for audio listeners.
At first, it looked like just a rock.
Yeah, that's
stationary.
probably...
It's very clearly moving. You can see the relationship with the background.
Probably
of the
think it's
boat.
going probably, what, 5 miles an hour?
Yeah, I'd say it's tooling through there pretty good, maybe a little quicker. Okay, so some of our viewers are going to say, well, okay, this is something fishy here, pun intended. Here's a guy in like a blazer, dress shirt, and nice pants fishing. Okay.
Well, oh, that's the thing. That's the first thing I thought too, because when I looked at that, I was like, why is this guy doing this?
That was the first thing that jumped out.
Did you look it up?
I did. I figured out at least what allegedly the explanation is. And
Well, he was. Well, let's go back before you talk about what.
okay.
Why was
Okay.
he dressed up on the thing like that? Do you know?
They were filming a movie or a show called Fishing with David Lynch.
Yeah.
And David Lynch was famous for his suits and blazers like that he would wear, and they were like, I think that person was supposed to be portraying David Lynch in this show or movie that they were making, and that's why they had the video camera and the video equipment in the first place, is that they were filming this movie Fishing with David Lynch.
Okay.
Did they ever make that movie? I'm going to Google that while you keep talking.
Yeah, so then I was like, okay, simply enough, just looking at the comments about there, people saying what this thing was, and I researched what they said. It does look like exactly like this turtle thingamadour. I'm gonna play the clip here. These turtles get pretty big. This is a giant turtle spotted on a beach in Miami, Florida.
Oh,
that thing is
no.
humongous.
Hold on. That is not real. That's CGI.
CGI my ass. Look at everybody watching it.
They're watching something else and they just put a big
There's
one on
these
it.
turtles.
That cannot be the size of that turtle. If that's the case, I believe that.
What were you thinking it was?
I didn't know.
Oh, you didn't come to a conclusion in your research?
I didn't. No, you caught me like leaning real close. Look at it. Play that turtle video again. That can't be real.
There's
is it?
a leatherback sea turtle.
No.
Okay, here's one with a guy by it. Oh, here's that other one. Look at how big that is.
It's not. Yeah, but what you just showed on that video is like the size of a fucking bus, man.
Well, that could be some perspective, but you're still talking about how big these things are.
Oh God, that is pretty big.
Here's a bigger one. Giant leatherback sea turtle. And this is what I believe it was. I don't know if you had any other conclusions.
No, I didn't. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was interesting.
And actually, like I said,
that is a huge turtle, though, and
It
that's
is.
got to be about a 7-8 foot shell.
could you
At
imagine?
least 6 feet.
So yeah, you put it together, and like I said, I didn't do any crazy research or anything. I'm just simply looking in the comments of these videos, folks, and you can actually find some, stuff right there
Well,
what people thinks it is.
Somebody in the comments of that video that we watched said, "I believe it or not, I saw something like that in Minnesota, and which would not be a leatherback sea turtle, but
Somebody said that in the comments?
yeah, I think it was like when I watched the video Thursday. Was it Thursday? Was it last night?
Look what this one says. This says this is a leatherback sea turtle. Largest ones can be 22 feet. That's why the water is just disturbed to.
Yeah, okay. I'm leaning toward that, Dan. No, this one says they're 2 meters in length at most. No, they're longer than 6 feet. I'll guarantee you that.
So this commenter says, this may seem funny, but this is exactly the same thing that I saw back in 2004 at Clean Lake, Minnesota, and nobody believes me. It left a trail of water just like that too.
We've got some large snapping turtles, that live here. I don't think they're that big. But, oh God, what kind of alligators snapping turtles? They can get to be probably 6-7 feet, I bet you.
Okay, we got this dude hold. Now that's pretty damn big though.
They're big. I mean, they're not any 6, 7.
I
8
still
feet,
wouldn't, I still wouldn't want to mess with it.
Could you look at its mouth? Would you imagine sticking your leg in there or something?
My God, that's probably
These things have been around as long as dinosaurs. They were around when Tyrannosaurus Rexes were.
That's probably what the Minnesota dude's seen then.
Yeah,
Easily.
a super large one. Yeah.
Or even if it's like, he can't get the distance, because it's not
Yeah,
the right perspective.
Yeah, once it gets 50, 60, 70 feet out, it's really hard to tell size.
So there you go, folks. We got sea monster turtles that can be as big as your car or even bigger.
Yeah.
It's very comforting, isn't it, Pete?
Yeah, it is. But you know what? Heck, think of how many smaller animals that humans eat. It's right that humans get eaten by eaten by bigger animals every now and then. It's only fair, right? So I'm not
Yes.
gonna be afraid to go swimming. That's all right. I mean, that'd be kind of neat though to get eaten by a giant sea creature.
Do you know, I wouldn't mind throwing
Journalists.
to some of these.
And lawyers. Don't forget the lawyers.
All right, folks, we'll close up for the broadcast. Hopefully, maybe we'll be in the studio next time we're together. We'll see how it
Hope
goes.
so, Dano. Let's hope so.
Obviously, we're not distancing because of this virus anymore, but it is what it is. We'll see how things go. I was waiting for the background lights to be returned. If they're returned, we'll get her back in the studio and we'll go from there.
And yeah, awesome, Dano. Good show. Liked
All
it.
right, later, folks.